Hey, what is up, guys? It's MTHD here, coming to you live in HD. And today I wanted to make a video for you guys to give my 2 cents as to why I still believe the Nexus 6P can probably still be the best Android smartphone you could get on the market right now. Even while probably the other favorites in this category are probably the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, obviously, and the Note 5. And I'm gonna give you guys my take as to why I still believe this phone can probably match them up in their different categories, and why the specs might not be as good, but when you really look at it, it's optimized for this phone. Just a few notes about the 6P. I believe the starting price is 499. It comes unlocked and it's 32 gigs. And as we go through the other phones, you're gonna realize that's by far the cheapest option. And you could almost think of it as a bargain because this phone comes unlocked, so it gives you a lot of potential. Another thing to note about the phone is that it does come with a 3450 milliamp battery, which is very big and very efficient. And another great thing about the Nexus 6P and what it's famous for is just being so simple and just being stock, with no skins, and it really is the best experience you can have with a Nexus phone. Um, and then as you look, it has a fantastic camera as well, 12 megapixel shooter in the front, 8 megapixel shooter in the front. Or I apologize, 12 in the back, front 8 in the front. um, and it looks great when you really start to take photos. In my opinion, though, when you do take photos with this phone, I definitely recommend you have the HDR plus on. It'll definitely make a difference in your photos. You pull down the top menu, you get notifications. If you swipe down with two fingers, you get kind of all the preset settings which you can adjust. And the phone does get relatively bright, and great blacks on this phone. Again, it goes again with the beautiful display. Whenever you pick up the phone, it has a dim display to kind of show your notifications and the time, which I think is a great idea here, and it works great every time you lift up the phone. Another great thing about the phone is it has a fingerprint sensor on the back, which works fantastic because I don't have to go and actually wake up the display and then press the fingerprint. It just picks it up normally, and as you take a look around the phone, it has a beautiful build. Almost looks reminiscent of an iPhone if you really want to think about it, with the brushed aluminum finish, and then the well, in this case, I think definitely a better display than an iPhone would have. Um, but either way, it still looks great in my opinion. So when you're comparing the displays between the Nexus 6P, the S7 Edge, and the Note 5, Nexus has a 5.7-inch AMOLED display from Samsung, and then the Samsung products have their own Super AMOLED displays. But to be honest, the difference is hard to find. Um, and when you really start looking at the prices, the S7 Edge starts at it is 780 with a contract, and then the Note 5 comes in at about 696, I want to say, and the RAM's difference is from 3 to 4, so it really isn't much of a difference. And when you really look at the battery percentage, the Note 5 is a 3000 milliamp, while the S7 goes up to 3600. And then the Nexus XP is 3450. So again, great performances throughout. All right, guys, those are just some specs about the phones, but the real reasons why I do believe this phone can actually be a better product in the end is simply put because when you really think about it, Nexus products get the updates before anyone else when it comes to the Android market. So that's something you really have to consider. They'll give you updates even monthly, whereas other phones you might have to wait quite a while just to even get any remote update. So that's one thing to note. Nexus is definitely the cheaper product, only in terms of price, nothing else. Build quality, fantastic. Great processors. I mean, everything about the phone is great, which Nexus was always known for. They just weren't known for the premium build, which they have now. And then the other thing that you have to really consider is that this phone, when you really are looking at it from a buyer's perspective, it really can provide a lot that the other phones also provide, but at a much higher price point, which I don't know. To me, it's hard to say it's justified because just because they have a newer processor this year and maybe a slightly better camera, it doesn't it doesn't make it miles better than this phone right here. So that's why I still currently believe this phone can definitely be the better buy. And then this is kind of a side note, and it might sound a little biased, but when I first switched from an iPhone, because I was with the Apple for a long time, it was hard for me to find a phone, an Android that I could really get used to. And the reason that is because I wanted a customizable phone, which Android provided, but it was just all too complicated, and it took me a while just to get and figure things out. When it came to this phone, the thing that I loved about it was that it was so simple. And it was so reminiscent of an Apple phone, just in the Android part or the Android business, if you want to think of it like that. So it wasn't a realm that I was used to, and in my opinion, if you're an Apple user or an iPhone user and you're really considering switching, I definitely highly suggest this is the phone you want to get because it's gonna seem familiar. It's simple and it has great specs across the board, and if you really think about it, it'll definitely be cheaper in the long run. Um, and again, it comes unlocked to begin with, so it's hard to find negatives on this phone. Actually, one thing to nitpick, and I don't know if this is just because of the case I used. When I use the case, sometimes I'm not the biggest fan. It's a little hard to see. It's not focusing. But I guess the volume and the power buttons, I'm not the biggest fan of their placement because sometimes I would use two phones and I have big palms, and then as you can see, well, it's hard to see now, but I kind of would press the volume down button, like it gets stuck like right here in my hand. But that's just nitpicking. I'm not the biggest fan of that placement. I just kind of wish it was maybe a little higher up, but maybe it's just my hands. I don't know. But that's pretty much it, guys. Again, fantastic phone and definitely one I could still recommend, especially now because you can still find it cheaper. And probably $499 is what you could get it stock, like from or not stock, but like brand new. But you could probably get it for 400 about, give or take, in other places from legitimate sellers. So that's another thing to consider, guys. So that's why I definitely believe this phone can definitely be a great buy, even still to this day, because again, it's doing stuff that the other phones are struggling to do at a great price point, and it's a fantastic phone with excellent build, premium build, and as I previously stated before, it kind of looks a little bit like an Apple. I don't know, a little bit, although they do hide the bands here and there. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Again, fantastic phone, great battery life, and smooth performance. And for the price, you can't beat it. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope it was informative. If you have any questions, leave it down below. Like and subscribe. I would say weekly videos, but I don't want to lie to you guys. So I try to make videos when I can, guys. But the semester is ending, so expect more content in the near future. And that's pretty much it, all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, guys.